It's a me, Mario. We're talking Super Mario Brothers. Hit it. It was 1985. Ronald Reagan began his second presidential term. Back to the Future was released. REO Speedwagon couldn't fight this feeling, and Mario fought to rescue Princess Peach Toadstool from Bowser the King Koopa. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Joining me are two Totally Rad Christmas All-Stars. From the Advent Calendar House, it's Mike Westfall. Mike, how's it going?
Hey, paisanos!
How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
You know, I'm ready to give Nick some of my stew and just kind of call it a night.
Very nice.
And from the Christmas Clatter podcast, it's Todd Killian. Todd, what's happening, man?
Hey, Bambinos.
Close enough.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah. What's going on, guys?
Oh, I'm excited for this one.
Yes. I needed this.
Merry Cave Christmas to you all.
Yes.
So I've been wanting to do this one for 2 years, and I've been kind of putting it off just because, you know, there are other things I wanted to get to and some things that guests have requested. But today we're talking Super Mario Brothers and everything Mario in general. And I love Mario. The games are amazing. They're so much fun. There's just, I mean, literally he does everything and it's so cool. But like, what's y'all's experience with Mario? Like, what do you remember about Mario?
I remember the very first Mario that came with the NES the most, and I remember thinking, "Hey, the guy from Donkey Kong's in this game. What's that all about?"
Yep,
pretty much.
I didn't even know his name at the time, and the thing I remember the most is I ended up getting the Nintendo as a birthday present in July. Me and my sister shared it as a birthday present. Our birthdays are only 3 days apart.
Oh wow,
3 years and 3 days apart. She's older than I am. And so we got it as a joint, birthday present. Ended up being mostly mine anyway over the course of the years or so. But I grew up in a one TV house, so I had to share the TV with the parents. And then finally, my dad, who works at a TV station, brought home this. I tried to find a picture of this like 13-inch color TV, but it had like two little 5-inch screens on the side of it as well. That were black and white. Yeah, and it took like no time before the 13-inch screen just kaput. So I inputted Mario into that little 5-inch black and white screen and sat there like this and played it the whole time in black and white.
You had a Game Boy before everyone else.
Yeah.
But you couldn't take it anywhere.
Yeah.
That's hardcore. That's a hardcore gamer right there. Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Oh, well, the NES was a gift for my dad, actually. He and before that, we had a console called the Intellivision. It was made by Mattel. It could play ColecoVision games. There was a port of Donkey Kong on that. There was a port of Donkey Kong Jr. on that. And then a friend of my dad's got the Nintendo Entertainment System. He was like, I want a Nintendo. So we got one as a gift. We got Super Mario Brothers. And my favorite game now is The Legend of Zelda. But when I was a kid, I was all in on Super Mario. I had Mario decals all along my bedroom wall that I shared with my brother. I would eat Nintendo cereal system every morning, but I only liked the Mario side.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when they came out with that Super Mario Brothers Super Show, I remember like coming home from school and parking myself in front of the TV, waiting for episode 1 to start. I was hooked and I was all in.
That's awesome. I actually, unfortunately, when the show came out, it was at the time when I was having to take a bus to my mom's school because my mom was a teacher, and then I had to stay at school until she was ready to leave. So I missed a lot of these. I caught a few, and the thing I remember most about the show in particular was Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah.
I mean, and I only knew him from Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling.
Oh wow,
that was like that was like where I really know him from. And I did listen to your show about this episode, Mike, and he did appear in a live action sketch. That's why I think your guest was Pope.
Adam Pope.
Adam Pope. Yeah. And so that's why he remembered, or that's why he read that credit. So it is true. He did appear on that.
Okay.
Yeah. But he did not voice his own character, which is strange. Anyway, that's like where I knew Captain Lou from. And so when I saw him as Mario, I was like, hey, it's the guy from Hulk Hogan. So, but the game itself, I actually, it's kind of similar to yours, Mike. My friend had one. It was awesome. So I wanted one. Unfortunately, my dad, my aunt started a college fund for me when I was young. My dad took like some of the money out of it and bought a Nintendo. Bought a Nintendo for me. You know, it's okay. Student loans, whatever. But
it's just a different sort of investment.
That's right. Yeah.
Here we are talking about it almost 40 years later.
Yeah, I wouldn't have remembered a college fund, but I remember Nintendo. And yeah, it came with Mario and Duck Hunt.
Yes.
And played Duck Hunt a bit. The dog got on my nerves, so I started playing Mario and did everything I can to learn all about the warp pipes and everything. And I was like all in on Mario after that. So
did you try to shoot that dog?
Oh yeah.
I tried to shoot that dog. You could
every time, yeah.
Everybody tries to shoot the dog.
Yeah, every time it didn't work. But I only like a couple of years ago learned that you could actually control that the second player could control the ducks.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that was something. But
let me ask you guys this, because I played the NES at a friend's house too before I got one. What was the first game that you ever played on the NES?
It was Super Mario Brothers.
Mine was actually Zelda.
Was it?
Really?
Yeah. My friend had Zelda, and it was awesome. I was not very good at it, but yeah, I played it. And
that was the first game I played. The first game I saw was my dad's friend's son, which is both of our first experience with the NES. Had a game called Wizards and Warriors. Was the first one I saw, and he was like battling this cave full of bats.
I do remember that.
That was
game.
One of the early games that we got too, because they had it. And so somewhere in my parents' house, hopefully, is a video, Christmas morning, I want to say 1989. We got Wizards and Warriors, and we got the Nerf fencing swords.
Oh, nice.
So there's a video of my brother and me fencing each other with the Nerf fencing swords, and just letting that Wizards and Warriors title music play, and then just hitting reset to let it play over and over.
That's awesome. I think I actually have Wizards and Warriors downloaded as a ROM for an emulator on my computer.
Oh, I loved that game.
Man, so you went all in on the sword and sorcery games.
Heck yeah.
I dig it. Conan was another one that was fun.
Didn't have Conan.
And what was that? Was it called The Wizard? No, The Warlock? No, what was it called? You know which one I'm talking about.
Is it The Immortal?
The Immortal. That's it. Yes, The Immortal. That was another one that was fun. Although that one was also rather difficult because you had the dodge and slash. As a kid, I couldn't get the timing down. Yeah,
I still can't.
It's not quite the side scroller that Mario is.
No.
Yeah. Mario and what I like about Mario is that it's actually designed to kind of help you learn how to play the game just from level 1-1. So the very first world is they put everything that you could possibly face with the exception, of course, of like any water, but anything that you could possibly face there, so you can figure out the mechanics. And I like games that do that because as much as I love Mega Man, and you can kind of figure out the mechanics, there is no first level. So basically it's like just pick a guy and go, it's like just the circular loop of guys you pick. So I like games where it's like, okay, this first level is a little bit easier. You can kind of figure out, oh, this mushroom is different from the ones trying to kill me. This mushroom makes me big. Cool. And, just figure it out. Because it's not like they had, you couldn't go online at GameSpot, what is it? Nope. Any of those GameSpot or whatever, and figure out. Let me just read the FAQ on it.
Yeah, and before we had gotten the subscription to Nintendo Power Magazine, which was like the holy grail of where you would learn all of these tips and tricks, and they would write maps in there. Before we had that, my cousin had a subscription, so he would like Xerox copy pages of the magazine, so he would bring over binders of that, and I'd have copies of that, and that's a good memory in itself. These black and white, badly photocopied maps of Zelda dungeons.
That's awesome. Do you still have them?
No, I sold them all. Well, I didn't sell them all. I think I gave them. They're in a better home somewhere.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure where, but someone took them.
Gotcha.
But I think I recycled the maps themselves, the photocopied ones. Just like, well, I have the actual back issue now, so I don't need these.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So Mario actually first appeared in 1981 in Donkey Kong, like you mentioned. Yep. He was originally, well, when they were designing Donkey Kong, they wanted it to be a Popeye game. So he was originally going to be Popeye, which is crazy. I mean, can you imagine like what the world would be like if Popeye had been the main star of this rather than Donkey Kong?
The only reason I can is because Nintendo eventually did get a Popeye license, and they did make a Popeye game.
Oh, they did, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, so they did, and it was very similar to Donkey Kong, but at the same time, it was very different. So
Right. Wow, I completely forgot all about that. Yeah, because Pauline was going to be Olive Oil, and then Bluto was going to be the I guess Donkey Kong's character.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Donkey Kong does look like Bluto now.
He does look a little bit like Bluto.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, right. Got a tie.
So they were going to call Mario Mr. Video, which is something that again I don't know if his name, if he would have taken off as much as he did if his name wasn't Mario.
Probably not.
Then they were going to call him Jumpman when they decided to add jumping to the game's mechanics. And again, that wasn't quite suitable. Eventually, they named him after Mario Segale, who was like the landlord of their building. They owed some money, and so they worked a deal out with him. And so they named him after him. And that's how Mario got his name, which is crazy to think about.
So if Mario would have went with Jumpman, then what would Michael Jordan call his logo?
I don't know. Just Air, I guess.
Airman. That's a different guy. Nope.
Yeah. Then Capcom had some words with them. Yeah, Mario's history is crazy. So after Donkey Kong, he came out with his own game, just Mario Brothers. This is where Luigi's introduced. And I don't know if you remember Mario Brothers, but it's basically there's like some crazy animals and creatures appearing in the sewers of New York. And so he and Luigi have to go clear it out because they're plumbers at this stage. They were originally carpenter. Well, Mario was originally a carpenter in Donkey Kong. That's why he gets the hammer as one of his weapons. And all of a sudden he's a plumber now, and he's trying to clear this. And apparently a few years ago, they decided that he had no official occupation. He just did whatever. And then a year later in 2018, they decided, no, that's not true. And they reverted him back to, he is a plumber. He just happens to do these other things as well.
Well, all right.
Yeah. So just in case anyone's wondering, Mario is a plumber, but he's also, I guess, a doctor and an archaeologist at some point. And
he's worn a lot of hats, and he's done a lot of jobs.
Yes, he has.
Just like Barbie. He's like Barbie.
Yeah.
Mario, the Barbie from the 1980s
Barbie
boy.
of video.
The Barbie of video games.
Mario, Millicent Mario.
And that's another thing. Yeah. So when the movie came out and his name was Mario, I was like, that's not his name. He has no last name. And I was all upset because, Bob Hoskins was playing Mario. Well, apparently it really is his name, Mario, even though the original creator, was it Shigeru Miyamoto, just like retcon that, said, no, that's not his last name. He has no last name. And then he changed his tune later on.
They retconned and like gone back and re-retconned so many different things.
They need like a series Bible like Legend of Zelda has. It would make things so much easier. Just tell us.
But even then, there's a lot of retconning going on. It's these aren't Bowser's children. They're just Koopa.
They're just Koopalings. Yeah.
It's no. Stop.
What does a Koopaling mean? I don't know.
They had a manual that said these are Bowser's children.
They did. Yep. I'm gonna say it's an alternate timeline.
Sure.
It worked for Zelda. For Zelda. Let's just keep it going here.
The theory that I like is that they're a troupe of actors and they're performing for us in each of these games, and you can see it in kind of the background of Super Mario Brothers 3, how it opens with a curtain, and
it does.
Some of those wooden platforms are on kind of wires, so that's supposed to be it's all a stage show.
So in real life, they're all best friends. They go and have a pint after the show.
Yeah, let's go kart racing.
Makes sense. They do like to party.
Yeah.
We finally broke down and got a Switch, and we've been playing Mario Party.
Nice.
And the kids love it. I mean, this is like the first real. I don't know. We had a Wii that they were playing for a while, but they really haven't. So this is like the first real video game experience, and they're digging it quite a bit. And so we went ahead and we beat it. We got all the gems from Mario Party, and now they want to do is like unlock all the new characters. And as soon as they unlock one, they're fighting over who's going to be one. And yeah,
those Mario parties are they're pretty good. When I was in my mid-20s, before I had kids, me and I was married, and my best friend was married. Then they'd come over like during the week just to hang out, and me and him would head up to a spare room in our house upstairs and play Mario Party till like 4:30 in the morning, and then they'd like be at work at 6.
When you could do that in your 20s,
and we could do that and be just fine.
Those are the days.
We did that for weeks, and it had such a blast doing that.
How are y'all at Mario Kart?
As long as I get Donkey Kong, I do okay.
I think I'm great at Mario Kart when I'm playing with friends, and then I get on online play and everyone smokes me.
Yeah, I understand that.
I was never great at Mario Kart. I think the best one, the best Mario Kart was when on the one on the Wii. I think it was Mario Kart 8. I think it was. Or maybe it was 7. I don't recall.
No, that was just called Mario Kart Wii.
Okay, maybe that one. I think that's the one I was best
number
at.
5 or number 6.
And I had to buy like that little wheel. And
the wheel. I had the wheel.
And I was actually okay with the wheel. It's like, oh, this is just like driving. But
I was terrible with the wheel.
If you asked me to use the cursor, or the control pad, I couldn't do that. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I was so used to it, so I was better with the controller.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I never actually played Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo.
Oh.
I played it like once on the N64, and then like that was it. So I hadn't played it again until the Wii. So I was trying to do it, and I was miserable. It was just awful. So finally, I bought that. I was like, okay, it's like I'm driving. I get this now.
I'll tell you what. Going back to that first one on Super Nintendo, the controls are so different compared to what the N64 one kind of refined as the Mario Kart control scheme. It's just I can't get the hang of it going back to the first one, but 64 I'm pretty decent at still.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's mine. The 64 is the one I'm the best at. Not to, but yeah, I never really played it on NES that much.
Yeah. My wife still has her old Super Nintendo. So
Nice.
Before the kids were born, we would like break it open and play a little, or when she was pregnant, with our first, we'd play a little bit. And she's like, She kills me at Mario Kart. I mean, it's terrible. Like it's so bad. And she has like no mercy. As soon as you start playing games with friends, or you're just like ruthless. And so yeah, she doesn't mind red shelling me. Anything. It's like whatever, anything goes. So I usually end up like last place, but. But on the Wii, I was actually pretty good. I was like first or second, so I'll take it.
I kind of skipped the Super Nintendo. I played it a lot of basketball, but I kind of was into the Sega Genesis at that time.
Yeah, that's what I had too.
It was kind of an either or situation at my house. I couldn't have both, so
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
okay. I was a Super Nintendo kid, so I played a lot of Mario Kart, played a lot of Super Mario World. Played Super Mario All-Stars, which was the one that combined all the NES ones and kind of gave them more souped-up graphics. And then they brought over what they called the Lost Levels, which... So in Japan, they made a more direct sequel, Super Mario Brothers 2, that was basically just the first game, but they added some things like poison mushrooms, and it was a lot harder. So Nintendo Power had this contest where, okay, if you get... through all 8 worlds in these lost levels without using warp zones, you would get to world 9. So they had a world 9 challenge. If you get through this and you take your picture and you send it in, we'll send you a patch. Oh, and I forgot to take it out. It's in my closet, but I still have the patch.
Nice. So you did it. That's cool.
Oh, I did it, and I still have the patch to prove it.
That's awesome. I was the same as you, Todd. It was either you can have a Super Nintendo or you can have a Genesis, and there were rumors that Mortal Kombat was going to be released with blood and the full fatalities on Genesis. So I went with Genesis instead, and of course they did, and it was awesome. Of course, the graphics for the Super Nintendo were better, but I mean, it did take them a while before they finally figured it out, and then they figured it out, and it was like, wow, okay, well, I wish I'd gotten that instead. But my best friend that I mentioned had the flag and had all the games that I played, and he had the Super Nintendo, so I'd go to his house and play, like Mega Man X and some of those Mario games as well. But it's just one of those where hindsight, I probably would have gotten with the Super Nintendo, but I still am pretty awesome at Mortal Kombat. So I think I made the right choice.
I held out and I got Mortal Kombat 2 for Super Nintendo. Ooh. And then they decided, all right, here's your blood.
Here's your blood.
Kids.
Fine. That's right.
Mortal Kombat 2 is my favorite.
Because it was supposed to be like sweat, right? They like painted it gray or something in the original.
They painted it gray in the first one, but if you had a Game Genie,
that's right,
and you knew the right code, you could turn that sweat back red. But it was like it wasn't perfect. It was weird and all digitized. And...
Game Genie, now that's awesome. The Game Genies, they were so cool. Did you use it a lot, the Game Genie?
Yeah, I did, but as fun as it is to put the codes that they have listed in there, it's also fun to like change a letter here and there, especially with Super Mario Brothers, because you could get to some crazy like glitchy levels, which is like, oh, we're underwater in a castle at the same time. This world doesn't have a number; it's just a picture of a crown because they ran out of space.
That's all we need, just a crown. It doesn't matter. So the basic premise, and we'll get to the shows in a little bit, sure. And we'll mention the movie, but just because we have to. But the basic premise is that Bowser, who's the king of Koopas, and they live in Mushroom Land, he's trying to take over, and he kidnaps Princess Toadstool, which was her original North American name, although in Japan she was always Princess Peach, and Mario has to go rescue her. So I assume... how he gets here. I assume somehow he found a warp pipe when he was working under the ground in New York in his own game, and somehow he ended up transported here. I don't know if they ever officially say, because there's also a version where a stork brings him to
yes, Yoshi's Island.
Yoshi's Island, yeah. Oh. So I don't know which one it is. Did he grow up there? Is he from New York? I don't know, but or maybe both. Maybe both are true.
Moved to New York, or.
Yeah, he tried to make it big.
There you go.
I got a job as a carpenter like Harrison Ford.
There it is.
Fine, but I assume somehow he found a pipe that took him to the Mushroom Kingdom, and he finds Peach, who's usually blonde, but in the cartoon has red hair for some reason.
Well, in the older North American artwork for Super Mario Brothers. She is more of a brunette in a lot of those, or I guess she is a redhead in a lot of those.
So the being blonde was a retcon then.
Yes.
Well, they say blondes have more fun, so I get it.
Nope. Yeah, just doing a lot of changes. Like, remember, like Mario used to have the red overalls in the first game.
That's right.
And they decided, all right, let's give him the blue overalls because it's easier to draw in the game. So
yeah. And the reason for his big nose is not because of stereotypical. Well, I won't go there, but it's because they just tried to make his face look more like a face with their 8-bit graphics.
Yeah, going back to Donkey Kong, they a lot of what makes Mario look the way he is was because of graphic limitations. So yeah, the overall were just all right. They helped show hand movements a little more, and he's got a mustache because that looked better, and he has a hat because that was easier to animate.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to animate his hair whenever he jumped.
Right. So it's a lot of things like that make a lot of sense when you think back and look at like Pitfall, and it's just you got a square as your head.
Pitfall. I like Pitfall.
I love that game.
That was fun.
Was there never an end to that game? I never got to any kind of end.
Apparently, you can collect all the treasures and it just freezes and you're done. That's how you know you're done.
Classic,
when the game just freezes.
Early 80s rewards right there.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No, Donkey Kong was the first game that had a Donkey Kong was the first game that had a story to it. You put in your quarter and you see Donkey Kong climbing up this scaffolding with this damsel in distress.
Pauline.
And now you got a game. Yeah, Pauline.
Who apparently was also retconned from being Mario's girlfriend to just Mario's friend. So in my own headcanon, they dated, they broke up, it was mutual. And now they're just friends. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Got lost, and then she became the mayor.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Got to grow, got to live. Yeah, so I think they've expanded everything over the years. They've had the original was like the super mushroom, the 1-up mushroom. They had the fire flower as well. Yeah. Then they just started adding all sorts of things. We get the tanuki suit as well, which yep. Or raccoon suit, I guess.
We had both.
Which that's right, we did. By the way, I did look up what a tanuki was because I had no idea. Apparently, it is a Japanese raccoon dog, which is more in the fox family than an actual raccoon family. So yeah, so that's interesting. I didn't know that. But yeah, so I mean, then we get the cape. Do you remember the cape? Of course. I
remember the cape. The cape was hard to get used to, but then once I got the hang of it, you could like fly through entire levels of Super Mario World.
It was, yes, for me, it was very hard to get used to. But it did have a cool little spin thing that you could do.
Yep.
So I liked that. Let's see, the red leaf was what turned you into
that gave you the raccoon.
That gave you the raccoon. Yeah. Yep. Then you had the full suit. Wasn't there also like a frog suit as well?
Frog suit for swimming?
Yep. Mm-hmm. What animal swims better than a frog, except maybe a fish? I don't know. So works, but he is Jumpman, so you got to make sure it's a frog so he can jump.
Right. Stick with the brand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we wouldn't know anything about that here. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things. Eventually, he meets Yoshi. Luigi is introduced, and then the second player can be him. And then in part 2, which I think you have like a whole article about, don't you, Mike, on Super Mario 2?
Oh goodness, that bro. Back years and years and years ago, I had an old article about the Japanese version of what we know as Super Mario Brothers 2. It was a game that Nintendo partnered with Fuji Television, which is a TV station back then. They had these this sort of festival with their mascots in it, and they call it it translates to like heart-stopping panic or heart-pounding panic. It's like Doki Doki Panic.
That checks out.
And that's why. So they brought it over and they added Mario characters to it instead of this family of mascots for Fuji TV. And that's why Super Mario Brothers 2 is so different.
It's so
and you're
different.
In this dream world with Ward and the Shy Guys and throwing vegetables. That's from this old game.
Shy Guy. And they kept like so many features of it, like, or so many characters of it, but they didn't really I think you even mentioned that they don't keep Wart.
No, Wart doesn't get to hang out. He makes a cameo in a Zelda game. He makes a cameo in Link's Awakening, but that's it.
And it almost seems like they kind of merged Wart and Bowser at least the characteristics to get like Bowser as we know him today. Where it's like evil, I guess. I mean, I don't know about Bowser being allergic to vegetables, but it just seems like, or maybe it's just because they're both reptilian, they're both oversized, they have the crowns, they're kings of their respective areas, and I don't know. I always got that feeling like they merged them somehow, but maybe they didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember having a subscription to the Nintendo Comics system, which was by Valiant Comics. Probably their greatest hit, to be honest. But I remember they had like a letters to the editor thing, and someone asked in there, whatever happened to Ward? Why is Bowser commanding characters like Shy Guys and Flurries and stuff from Super Mario Brothers 2? And their answer to that was that, well, I guess we figured that when Bowser says jump, these baddies say how high. He rules with more of an iron fist than Ward ever could.
Oh,
that
okay.
was the comics answer to it.
Huh. Okay, I'll take it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I bought it.
Yeah. So Bowser's the Emperor, and Wart is just Darth Vader. Well, maybe not, because I don't think he's Mario's
maybe
father.
it's reversed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Darth Maul, maybe.
What's that?
Just Darth Maul. You just see him that
Darth Maul, yeah. Yeah, he gets killed off right away. No big deal. But he survives somehow through his hate.
Sure.
Why not? And then Super Mario 3, I remember from The Wizard.
Oh, man.
Which was awesome. The Power Glove, though, not realistic.
No. I had the Power Glove. We bought the Power Glove. I had it for like a week, decided this sucks. And I returned it, and I bought Double Dragon 2: The Revenge.
Ooh,
and
great game. I had that one. Yeah.
Much better investment
there.
The Power Glove.
Yeah.
It was literally
a friend of mine had the
so
Power
bad.
Glove. It was terrible.
It was very terrible. Yeah. The one thing that 8-Bit Christmas got super right was everybody's reaction to the Power Glove.
In fact, to me, any of them alternate controllers for the NES were terrible. Even like the big arcade joystick thing.
Oh, see, I liked that one. I had it was called the Advantage. I was good at that in certain games. Like I was better at things like Mega Man 2 with that.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I just had the hang of the joystick as opposed to the cross control pad.
I mean, it's a great idea, because I'd go, at this time I'd still go to the arcade and play games with the same setup basically. But for some reason at the house, I don't know if it's because I'm used to like sitting Indian style on the floor playing.
Oh yeah.
And trying to put that on my lap, and I don't know.
I used to have a Little Tykes picnic table, and I would stand it on its end and put the joystick on top of that.
Nice.
And stand up like at the arcade.
Nice.
It was just at my level. It was just tall enough.
I should have built a podium, is what I should have done.
Well, and you probably could have. You're pretty handy with tools, so I bet even young Todd could have done it.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, and there was something different about an arcade and playing on a joystick there while you're standing. There's like an energy around the arcade, even when you're hanging out with friends. It seems more laid back, like when you're playing video games with friends at your house, even if you're really into it. But in an arcade, there's just, the music's going, you hear all the different games going. There's just this like frantic feel to it that I always found fun. And so whenever I'd play on a joystick, I was terrible at home. And like you, Todd, I was actually pretty good at an arcade. I was never really great at many video games except for Mega Man and like fighting games. So Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Fists of Fury, all those kind of
Fury. Haven't thought about that in a long time.
I was
some of those Killer Instinct.
I was below average in every video game except 2, and then on those 2 I was completely untouchable. And one was Super Spike Volleyball for the NES.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I was bad at it, but I loved it.
That was a good one.
And the other was Joe Montana's Football on the Sega Genesis.
Nice.
Was it the one where it talks?
Yeah, had the play-by-play.
Like digitized Harry Callis voice.
Yeah. I was terrible at every football game except Mutant League football.
Oh, I was a Tecmo Super Bowl kid.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's the only ones I was ever good at. The Mutant League hockey, Mutant League football. Everything else. Well, no, I was pretty good at RBI baseball. for Nintendo, but that's about it.
My favorite baseball game was for Super Nintendo. It was Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball.
I remember that one. Yep.
Yeah. There was a baseball game on the N64 I had where you could like create your own team and, shuffle players around and stuff. And I always try to play a 162 game season and I could never get through it. It was just way too long.
Yeah, that's long. That's long, man.
Long season,
man. Oh man, Super Mario has spawned so much. I mean, I mentioned the movie with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. Not a great movie.
Nope.
I like it.
Really?
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
But I've always had a good time watching it. But I do remember the first time watching that first trailer. I think I was in for one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies.
Oh, yeah.
And this trailer comes on, and I'm just like, what is this? And I was mixed feelings of excitement that they're making a Super Mario Brothers movie, but confusion as to what did I just see?
It's like the Masters of the Universe movie.
Yes, I had that exact same
I was like so jazzed.
That.
It's like they're making He-Man movie, and then you see it and you're like, oh, was that? I want to like it so bad. Do I like that? I don't know. I mean, like why take He-Man out of Eternia? And I know why now, because it's budget. It was Canon Films. But but it's like at the time you're like, I don't get it. Why did they create these new characters? Why didn't they just use Merman and some of the Trapjaw and Triclops? It's like, why did they create Karg and all these guys? I didn't get my little 7-year-old, 8-year-old brain just couldn't comprehend. And I kind of felt that same way when Mario was coming out. It barely had anything really to do with Mario except that they were brothers, they were plumbers. Koopa was in there. I think Princess Peach was in there. Although I think her name is something Daisy. Else. It was was it Daisy?
After the Game Boy game.
Oh, okay. See, I haven't seen it in years.
They kind of combined. They used Daisy's name, but it's Princess Toadstool or Peach or whatever, because her dad, the king, gets turned into this big giant fungus. That's
slime. Yeah. As as one does. And eventually you get back on track.
That definitely feels like they had a script and a concept going, and they just dropped the Mario characters in there and made this.
Yeah, I agree.
That's happened a lot. It's like, I got this movie and let's just throw in some IP and call it a day.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, we're about to get into the actual Christmas of this all, but I know I keep putting it off. I'm just having so much fun talking about the games. What are y'all's feelings about Chris Pratt as Mario and the new movie coming out?
I love Chris Pratt. I mean, I love Chris Pratt. And maybe if he's like original Andy Dwyer. It might pull off, but I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just
it's so silly.
Yes,
I'm gonna watch it.
Oh,
but
for
it's
sure.
So silly. But some of these, like Keegan Michael Key as Toad, I'll watch that.
That one, that one was good. I'll take
Jack
that.
Jack Black as Bowser, I'll watch that.
Yeah,
I also agreed with that one. Yeah,
it'll definitely get watched. It's either going to be epically great or such a tragedy that you'll watch it over and over again because it's so bad.
Like
so
the
bad
first
it's good.
One.
Right.
Which is funny because Charles Martinet has done the voice for Mario since his creation, basically.
Not since his
since what, 92, I think, or
something like there. That. It was for like a trade show demo.
Yeah, and but it's like, I mean, we have this guy here. Why not use him?
He does get a cameo in this, so at least they're throwing him a bone. Like, they're making him a part of this, and so that's going to be part of the joke somehow.
Gotcha.
Somehow. So
all right, I guess.
They're not just, like, leaving him behind or whatever.
He's actually one thing I thought was cool is he's actually in the Guinness Book of World Records, just because he's played the same character, like, more than any other person, like...
Well, yeah, in so many different appearances, because all he has to do is record the. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, it's here officially the most roles performed with the same character. He's got at the time of that record, it was over 100, which is crazy. Yeah. But I mean, hey, let's use him. He also does Wario and Waluigi. Why not? Just
missed my calling.
Well, I did send you that thing about how to become a Muppet, a Muppeteer.
Yeah, you did.
So I'm trying to help you out. So the show, we mentioned it in the beginning of the episode. In 1989, they had the Super Mario Super Show.
Hey, paisanos, it's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
And then later on, it became Super Mario World, where they changed the song, which the first song was so good. Why change it up?
No, it was a different series. They had that, and then they did the Super Mario Brothers 3 cartoon on Saturday mornings.
Oh.
And then they transitioned that into Super Mario.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that makes sense then. Still, it's kind of a bummer. That first one was just such a great song. And
I got hooked on the brothers.
I mean, Captain
I'm not
Lou.
sure what happened there. And not all of the voice actors, like even they had to pick a different voice for the princess, and Mario and Luigi are all different voices. But Toad stuck around and King Koopa stuck around.
Well, I think Koopa's voice is so distinct.
Yes.
Captain Lou wasn't quite as Captain Louie, I guess, as he had been in other appearances. So I could see how anyone with a voice that's similar could have taken over the role. You do kind of miss it. I after watching the other episode, and it didn't quite feel right. And I don't know if it's just because I've seen so many more of the original Super Show than I have of the new one, or what. But it didn't quite sound like Mario to me.
No, it was definitely you had to get used to it. I remember because he started with the Super Mario Brothers 3 cartoon, and that was the first time I realized, whoa, this is a different voice.
Yeah.
So that took some getting used to, but it happens.
It does happen. I know. Kermit, looking at you. I'm still not used to, and I know it's only been like a couple of things here and there, but I'm still not quite used to the new voice of Kermit yet.
It's different with Muppets because you have to have someone who can perform the Muppet character. Like, you have to be a puppeteer and a voice actor. And I think Matt Vogel's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah. He's doing good. It's not the Kermit I'm used to. So it's taken me a little bit of time.
Steve Whitmire after Jim Henson died. We will get used to Matt Vogel eventually. If it
never
takes the rest of y'all 10 years like it did the last time. It took people so long. Like, we're going to get used to it. Yeah. And now we go back and we watch the Muppet Christmas Carol, and it's perfect.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine. And I love Jim Henson, and he's my Kermit. That's like my Kermit. Sure. But at the same time, I can't imagine him and his voice in Muppet Christmas Carol. I mean, at this point, it is Steve, and so I know I'll get used to it, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
We're talking Mario right now.
We are.
Yeah. So we have Captain Lou, we have Danny Wells as Luigi. None of these guys really rang a bell to me, except for Mr. Wrestler over there. What about y'all?
Well, going back, I know a few, like Harvey Atkin as Bowser. I've heard his voice in other cartoons. I used to watch this cartoon after school called Stunt Dogs about these stunt performers, and there was a bad guy in that show who was also voiced by Harvey Atkin using the same grovelly voice. Yeah. And the first time I saw him, I was like, hey, wait a minute. That might have been the only reason why I watched that show, because I recognized a voice on it. And then Toad is voiced by John Stalker, who's done a number of things, but I recognize him most, other than this, as a voice in the Care Bears family. He's Mr. Beastly.
Oh, was he on Dinosaurs? His voice sounded very much like the Ankylosaurus.
I think you're right. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I thought I heard a gummy bear's voice in one of the episodes we watched too, but I couldn't.
Might have been.
Could be.
Yeah, John Stalker is Ankylo.
And that's him. Yeah.
Or Ankylo, nice. Excuse me.
Yeah, I just found out that Dinosaurs had a Christmas episode, so I'm down, ready to do that.
Right.
The Stego Claus. So yeah, I'm excited to cover that one.
Oh, good. I'll get back. You getting Sean Robert for that?
I haven't yet, but
he's going to be a good get for that.
So. Okay, I'll ask him. Yeah, I've got him coming on to record on Leprechaun's Christmas Gold because I know it's one of his favorites. So I'm excited to talk that one.
Good.
But yeah, so other than really for me, I didn't really notice him except when I heard Ugdar's voice this time, and I was like, wait, that guy sounds like the guy from the Dinosaurs. But other than that, most of the voices I really don't have any connection to. You know, it's not like a Frank Welker or a Don Messick or anybody that's in everything, you know, or a Tara Strong even, you know.
Obscure.
Yeah, definitely much more. But let's talk Koopa Klaus.
Koopa Klaus.
Yeah. Yeah, this was from October 23rd, 1989. And this one was a fun one. I like this one. I like it more than the other one, that's for sure. I don't know about y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, right on. Okay, I dig it. If we want to break it down in a nutshell, and I realize we're running low on time here, so we'll kind of just run through these pretty quickly here. But in a nutshell, King Koopa tries to bomb the Santa's workshop and take his toys and replace them with like broken toys. And so Mario and Peach and Toad and Luigi, who just kind of happened to be there just coincidentally.
They took a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Exactly.
Like they literally dig up into the North Pole Bugs Bunny
style, yeah.
And Mario's dressed in this like Hawaiian shirt and a sun
the straw hat, yeah.
And never changes it throughout the episode. When he's at the North Pole, he's dressed for a Hawaiian vacation.
You know, I figure maybe he had a bite of fire flower and it just kind of warmed him up inside. I don't know. But there's like a lot of funny bits in this. So like when Koopa takes Santa, he ends up using him as a sled in one part. So I really laughed at that.
Yeah, I haven't seen Santa abused as much in a cartoon or film as I've seen him in this.
Yeah, this was a strange one. So Koopa, as he's loading up all his stuff and a bunch of bombs, you know, and I guess they're ice bombs that he's going to use to bomb,
freeze the North Pole.
Well, we never said Koopa was like the sharpest pencil in the box. I mean, so that's like his plan, and I do like the bit about the Randolph, the red-nosed triclide.
Yeah, that was good. He's got like bicycle handles as antlers.
All of the heads, doesn't it?
All three of his heads.
All three of the heads, and they all have the nose as well.
Yep.
And so they like take off, and as we said, they just kind of somehow manage to wind up at the North Pole, Mario and gang. And that's when they noticed that something's not quite right.
They were only 5 miles.
Yeah, they were 5 miles, but I mean, still, that's a long way from Hawaii land.
Sure is.
Yeah, which made me wonder, is Hawaii land like Hawaii, or is that like Hawaii land? Is that like some sort of mirror reflection in this Mushroom Kingdom?
I think that's what they're going with. They've gone a lot of places like that. There was like a Zorro type episode where I forget what it was called, but it was like Mexico adjacent.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah, not quite like Mexifo or something. Yeah, it's just funny how they do these things, and then the North Pole is here.
Yeah, it's the legit North Pole.
It is the North Pole, yeah. So maybe that's why whenever explorers go to the North Pole, they can't find it because it's actually not really in our world. I don't know. Yeah. Well, that's a stretch. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
Yeah. I didn't realize Mario was so good at like math because it's like they flew over him while they were at Hawaii land, and then he calculated that he's heading to the North Pole just by on his trajectory of flight.
Yeah.
Well, he is a doctor and an archaeologist.
That's true. That is true. We forgot he is video.
That's right. We forgot rule number 1.
Yeah.
But
apologize.
It's Christmas Eve, so first of all, why are they going on the Hawaiian vacation on Christmas Eve? But
I would.
Would you? I don't think I would. Huh? See,
Bab just did.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he did. He had some cool pictures though with Kermit.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that was great.
But so secondly, I mean, Toad is like, hey, we're by Santa. Let's go get some presents. And then Toad has like a legit arc in this whole thing.
Yes, Toad is the boy, do I love presents character. We're going for that trope here. And oh my goodness, just through the whole thing, he's got to like correct himself. It's just like, I love presents. Oh, what's Christmas without presents? Oh, and Santa.
And Santa, yeah. Let's go save those presents. And Santa.
It was very, it was laid on thick for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely like Orcoing it.
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
When I was watching this with my 9-year-old, and she's like, "Come on,
Smart kid."
Well, it's so much so that like Princess Peach has to like give him her present early. She's like, "Fine, here's your present," and he's like, "Oh, it's a snowboard," and he's so excited. It's awesome, and which spoiler alert comes in later. Anyway, so they see that everything's kind of frozen and Koopa's there and there's a whole thing. So they come up with this plan. And I love this plan because Mario makes Luigi do everything. I don't know if you noticed. He's like, go over there, grab that, toss it over here. He's like, what, this? He's like, okay, well, bring it over here. And then, all right, he picks him up. He's like, okay, don't jump on that. Like Mario does nothing in it except come up with the plan. But, that's what big brothers are for.
His mind's racing. That's how he's got to communicate. All right, get jump on the teeter-totter. Here we go.
And you made a point about teeter-totter. I was also seesaw. That's how That's how I learned it. So, you're a teeter-totter guy? Okay, yeah. Oh, interesting. Well, anyway, so basically it's like a catapult, I guess. Yes. And so they get this big block of ice to hit Koopa in his, faux sleigh. And they make no plan about how to get Santa, like how to save him or anything. Luckily, Koopa uses his bag as like some sort of parachute and manages to like slow their fall so that they don't die from these heights.
Yeah. Like that cape.
Yeah, Koopa could just not grabbed a hold of Santa and it's been the end of the whole thing.
But so then and this is the part that I like. They're like, all right, now we got to go catch him. And like it's just him, Koopa running and then using Santa as a sled.
Right. Riding on his back like belly whopping Frosty the Snowman.
It's ridiculous. And I loved every minute of it. It's like, oh, poor Santa.
Right?
Man. But I forgot how they catch him. Because they run into some flurries, isn't it? At one point?
Yeah.
But how do they end up catching? How do they end up stopping Koopa?
Koopa's screaming at that mountain.
Oh, that's what it was. That's right. Yeah, the avalanche.
On Santa off because he's got to let everybody know that Christmas is a bah-hum coop.
Christmas is a bah-hum coop. A bah-hum coop. A bah-hum
coop. Yeah.
I may or may not be doing that later.
Yeah. and then Mario uses his plumber's snake to lasso Santa out of harm's way. So
right.
I don't know. That's kind of suspect to me. I don't know if I'd be grabbing that thing.
Oh no,
it's terrible.
Put that plumber snake in the game,
right? That would have been cool. That would have been like super
Indiana
cool.
Jones in the cartoon.
Yeah, or like Castlevania, the whip.
The whip, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's another game I want. So good. I loved Castlevania. But yeah, you're right. So he causes an avalanche. Mario saves Santa. Then Koopa's like, "What about me?" And like he actually has the nerve to.
It's like just jump off.
Well, he doesn't even say anything. He mimes it, which I like. He just kind of goes. And so Koopa's like, you got to be kidding me. But eventually he does. Oh, but unfortunately, the North Pole is still frozen. So there's not enough time. Nobody's going to get their presents. And Toad is just like, yeah, what? I got my present. I'm all good. He has no clue until Peach is like, or he says, why is Santa sad? And Peach has to explain, yeah, you got your present. Nobody else is going to get theirs. And then in a true selfless moment, Toad, Toad decides to give Santa his board and says, at least you can give one present out. And Santa strangely says it's the like the most giving, loving moment he's ever experienced in the history of Christmas, apparently.
Really, Santa?
I don't know if I buy that.
A long time, Santa.
Maybe he just wanted to make Toad feel better about himself. I don't know.
He's a saint. He's trying to teach the whole leave the 99 sheep to celebrate the return of one.
There you go. I like that. So apparently that selfless act fills Santa with so much Christmas spirit. It warms his heart and soul, I guess, so much that it completely melts the North Pole.
Yeah.
And so then they're able to take off and everything's fine. They get to go with him and deliver presents and, all that. Now, this thing is bookended. And this was my favorite part. I like Mario. I liked it all. But my favorite part was actually the live action segments, which, if you're watching it on Tubi, by the way, is not the correct live action part.
Right.
So just an FYI, it's on that one, it's from the other episode, like little ones or something like that. And so it's not the right one. The correct one is where Mario and Luigi, it's Christmas Eve.
No. The Tubi one is correct. Excuse me.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. So they're actually, there's a live action Christmas segment in one episode, and this Koopa Klaus episode is in a different episode.
I see. Why wouldn't they put it on the same one?
I don't know. But someone on YouTube did a few years ago.
I did see that.
So I cheated in my episode of the Advent Calendar House and just covered both halves of that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what we'll do, because
good.
It's the other one. It's about a little boy that runs away, and then they have to convince him that his parents love him, all that stuff, the usual. No. In this one, it's Christmas Eve, and Mario and Luigi get a visitor in their Brooklyn apartment.
That is such a cool looking apartment.
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that that's really a Brooklyn apartment. I mean, I've never been to Brooklyn, but just from all the movies I've seen, it just seems big to me.
Well, it's also it's a work site.
That's
their
true.
Office.
The rent's got to be expensive on that.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah.
I hope he gets a lot of coins from those question boxes.
I guess so.
So, but they get a visitor, and it's a Santa Claus looking guy named Nick, but he's just wearing like red long johns.
Yeah. Well, there's New York, so.
Take that, Anthony. No,
it's Flatbush Santa.
That's right. That's right. So you can tell he's clearly something has happened to him, and so they take him in. Luigi goes out to look for his stuff, and Mario ends up feeding him like the dinner that they were going to eat. But Mario's so nice. He's like, no, I'm full. You eat mine too. And he kind of feeds this guy. Mario's such a good guy. And Luigi comes, he's like, well, what about your brother? He's like, oh no, he's full also. He's, we're stuffed.
Yeah.
And he comes and he's like, oh, I'm starving. And I like that bit. But anyway, in the end, midnight dings. I don't know who has a clock like that, but that's a cool alarm clock. It's like, it's midnight.
Yeah. Hey, it's midnight. It's Christmas. Reminded me of Buster Pointdexter hanging out with the clock.
Oh man, now I want like a Buster Pointdexter Mario.
Yeah.
Let's combine the two.
Now I need that. Get out of here, Chris Pratt. Get Buster Pointdexter in here to play Mario.
That would be cool.
It's me.
I'm the ghost. Yeah, I mean, so they end up giving Nick their presents because he doesn't have anything. It's a pair of boots and a wrench that they were going to give each other.
Very gift of the Magi kind of thing.
Right, because he's like, where are your boots?
Things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, very Christmas. Oh, Henry. Anyway, so eventually it's like I guess it's Christmas Day later on. They discover that the cops found his stuff, and their original gifts to each other are still there under the tree.
Just remember
it's
the
the
card.
gifts that they gave to each other, and they gave a little card, and it's signed SC.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, the card. Yeah, and they're like, SC. I thought his name was Nick.
Yeah.
And then they see those terrible reindeer, terrible little puppet
the
reindeer
little cutout in the window. Yeah.
It's so bad.
Red nose.
Ho ho ho. Oh man. Yeah, it's great. I loved them in their pajamas. That was fun.
Yeah.
Seeing them in their pajamas.
Yeah, with their little nightcaps.
And now, like, that's how I want to picture Mario and Luigi, like, all the time now, just as Buster Pointdexter in those pajamas.
Right. I think at the end of Mario 2, you see Mario kind of sleeping in a nightcap.
I think we do. Yeah.
It tracks.
Yep. Checks
Bring back
out.
Nightcaps.
Well, especially since so much from the show was like borrowed from Mario 2. I mean, that definitely makes sense.
There you go. Yeah.
Anybody have any experience with a nightcap?
I do not.
I have a heater.
That's right. Yep. And I can't sleep in like pajama pants. I can't. I get too hot, so I have to wear shorts when I sleep. It's just one of those things. But
I could go either way.
that's cool. But like you said, I have a heater, so
Right.
it's usually shorts for me. No experience with the nightcap, but I do have experience with cavemen. Not really, but that's my seg, and I'm sticking to it.
Well done.
So the second episode is it's from that other show, the Super Mario World that you were talking about. Actually came from the Super Mario 3, and in this one they introduce not introduce, he'd already been around, but they feature prominently Ugtar, which by the way, Ugtar backwards is rat goo, just so in case you're wondering.
Oh, of course. They're in Dinosaur Land.
Yeah.
Super Mario World.
So again, I don't know if is that just like another place in the whole Mushroom Kingdom world? I have no idea. Is this like a whole nother dimension? Like, I have so many questions.
I do too.
Yeah, I think the way they explained it in the manual for Super Mario World was that they were going on vacation to Dinosaur Land, and then here's Bowser kidnapping the princess again while they're on vacation.
How do they decide which like reptiles are like just reptiles and how are like the other ones are sentient? It's like there's no rhyme or reason to it.
They're all sentient. The clouds have eyes. Everything.
But I spotted
Everything
a
has
Trandoshan.
little eyeballs.
We got the orange rancor monster in the pit though. That's
Well, and then doesn't Mario use like some sort of creature as like a wrench to pry those bars to bend the bars?
Yeah.
Very Flintstones.
Yeah, it's definitely very Flintstones. Yeah.
Yoshi's hyper intelligent because he's got a saddle.
That's right. Yeah. That's like I guess their version of clothes. So
yeah.
So it's like the Winnie the Pooh and Mickey Mouse rule. If they're wearing clothes, they can talk.
There it is.
No, poor Pluto. But anyway,
he doesn't have opposable thumbs.
No, he really doesn't. Yeah. So he got the short end of the stick on that evolutionary scale.
Yep.
But so in this one, it's the middle of August, and it's just everyone's fighting, especially Yoshi and Ugdar. They're fighting over ribs, fighting over corn, fighting over everything, and it's kind of spilling out. So they get the idea to, what, everybody's nice around Christmas and the holidays. Let's just celebrate Christmas. And I like how Luigi's like, hey, it's like August, right? Mario's like, hey, they don't know that here. And so
this is the exact plot of the Back to the Future cartoon episode, except instead of celebrating Christmas where they go back to Dickens era 1845.
Which, by the way, I just dropped when this aired.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so they decide to have Cave Christmas.
Cave Christmas.
Merry Cave Christmas.
Cave Christmas.
What that?
It's a day when everyone's nice to each other.
Ooga, boring, man.
And so they tell him about Santa Claus, and Ugdar's not impressed that you got to be good. he's like good boys. He even says something like Ooga Bummer or something like that.
Ooga Bummer.
Yeah. But of course, Bowser being Bowser, he and Bully, I guess, is his son's name in this.
Yeah, so
Not Bowser Jr.? I don't know.
When they were developing the Super Mario Brothers 3 cartoon, they didn't have all the Koopalings named yet. So they just kind of went by the drawings, gave them names and character traits. And then later, Nintendo just decided to give all of the Koopalings names after rock stars and people.
Yeah.
And they didn't end up, but whatever.
But, they're not really Bowser's children anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So Bowser Jr., I'm going to say, is nicknamed Bully, just for continuity's sake.
Yeah, it's Roy for those of you who know them in their games and in Mario Kart. This is Roy with the sunglasses and the purple head.
Yeah. But apparently, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, so they're eavesdropping, and he's like, all right, well, let's take all their stuff. And so that's like their plan. They're just going to take their stuff. Ugdar, though, doesn't like this whole being good thing. So he wants to go take the presents first. And he ends up getting caught when Bowser and his son take the presents back to their castle. So then it's a matter of Mario having to rescue him. And I like how he's dressed. He's got the beard and the hat, and he's supposed to be Santa. I just thought that was a nice touch. But he rides Yoshi to the castle, get in, and manage to free him. And in the end, I like how, and yes, there was a little piece where Ugdar was going to be fed to like some sort of orange dino. That's the Rancor you were talking about. The Rancor, yeah. I wonder what a Rancor would be called in like Mario World.
Oh, jeez.
Because they all have like a Yoshi. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
so that Blarg, I think it's the lava monster in those.
Oh
games.
Yeah. Well, maybe something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they managed to save him using the cape, which I liked as well. It was a nice little reference. And I liked how Mario actually broke the question mark, the question boxes. So that was kind of cool too. And I don't know if you noticed, but while he's running away, there's actually a song that's kind of like a parody of Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Yeah, something like Rocking with Sleigh Bells.
With sleigh bells, yeah. Rocking with the sleigh bells the whole night through. Nothing could be nicer than being with you. It's like the lamest lyrics ever.
Well, in that first episode we talked about, they had Bobby Helms' Jingle Bell Rock.
They did. But then in reruns, I remember they couldn't use those. They lost the rights to using those songs, so it was like the same little instrumental track in every episode. And then they used that same track in all the Captain N episodes because they ran into the same problem there, and it was weird, but I have that memory in my brain. It's just like, oh, here we go. Here the song's called Mega Move.
Yeah, and it has to. It's basically more expensive to buy rights, TV rights, especially when it's going to be something that's going to be run in syndication.
Yes,
right.
And so there's a whole lot of that going on. So, like in Knight Rider, they bought the rights to the song, but not like the rights to the original songs because that's more expensive. So then they have like cover bands and studio bands playing them. Yeah. Now they do really good. They get really close to the actual like what it sounds like, but it's not. It's not really Yes singing "Owner of a Lonely Heart," in Knight Rider. So this is something similar. Same thing with like the Muppets, the Muppet Family Christmas, where they have to cut out a lot of that just because of rights.
But by the time they get to this cartoon, they got wise and was like, "All right, let's have the actors doing the Koopaling voices sing parody songs." Yeah. So let's
save some money there. Yeah. So. Anyway, with the cape, Mario ends up freeing Ugdar. They go through a warp tube, and I like how in the end, Ugdar's like, I don't need any. Thanks for saving me. That's all the present I need, Santa. As he's going to sleep, of course, he does say, well, if Santa wants to leave me a present, you can. So we get that classic little bit there, and of course he does. And then when he sees Mario asleep, he thinks that Santa forgot to give Mario a present, and so he drops off a present for Mario.
He gives himself.
Yeah. Aww, it's all nice. What do y'all think of these episodes? Are they part of your Christmas canon?
Koopa Klaus is.
Koopa Klaus, yeah.
Not so much this one because I don't have the same strong memory of it, but I watched Koopa Klaus and the other segment with Captain Lou and Danny Wells so often that I watched not every year, but it's fun to come back to.
Nice. What about you,
Yeah.
Todd?
I think this might actually be the first time I've seen any of these because by the time Mario became a cartoon and stuff, I was kind of at the age where I wasn't watching that a whole lot.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
And things, and that's kind of like pre-teenager, so it was
Right.
like I'd watch it but not really watch it, kind of thing. But I tell you what, the live action bit with the Nick, and as goofy as that was, I really enjoyed it quite a bit.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wish
yeah.
it was longer.
I did
Yeah.
too. I would have
Yeah.
loved to have seen just a show of that.
Yeah. I mean, they even like the crazy reindeer that come across. They even had like the red glow on the front one for Rudolph and stuff. And it's just like I said, as corny and cheesy as it was, I just really enjoyed it.
And I agree. I think from now on, I remember Koopa Klaus. It was never in my canon, but now that I've like really dived into it, I think it's definitely going to be from now on. I think I'm gonna catch that. Now, as far as the games go, so they actually have 3 of the top 5 best-selling games, which I thought was really cool. So it's Super Mario Brothers. Number 2 is Duck Hunt, and the best-selling games. Super Mario Brothers, the original, has sold over 50 million copies, which is just crazy. Super Mario Brothers 3 was ranked 3rd, then Tetris was 4th, and then Super Mario Brothers 2, the US version, or I guess international version, was ranked 5th. So, I mean, out of like the top 5 best-selling Nintendo games, they have 3 of them, and that says quite a bit for just the Mario franchise in general.
I'm not surprised. Well, especially with the first one, it helps to pack it into the game, into the system. So
Yeah.
That's why that's number 1 and Duck Hunt's number 2.
That's right. Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers 3, I remember the hype around that. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
I remember that
Yeah.
first commercial for it. It's just it's like a crowd of people across the globe chanting Mario, Mario, and they're
I
all
remember
wearing
that.
different
Yeah.
color shirts. And then when you zoom out on the planet Earth, and it's like it's Mario's face with all these people in different colored sweatshirts. But that was real. That was how we all felt. Like everybody was waiting for that game, and then we saw it in The Wizard, and that's the only reason anyone even went to see that movie. It's a fun movie, but that's the only reason anyone ever watched it.
I agree. Yeah, that's why I wanted, because the Power Gloves in it. I gotta watch this, and then Mario 3. Oh, I'm all in.
Yep.
Of course, we know how the Power Glove turned out, but Mario 3 was like a fun game. I really liked Mario 3.
Oh yeah, still one of my very favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. So it sold 58 million copies, Super Mario Brothers, which is just unbelievable. Mario Kart 8 sold. It's the next highest up. It's actually sold 47,200,000 copies, which is again quite an achievement.
Yeah.
I do got to know, guys. What would you say would be like your happiest memory or moment of Mario?
I mentioned that my dad got the NES as a gift. The Super Nintendo was a gift for me one Christmas when I was 11. So I remember that pretty vividly, waking up, and there's the big Super NES box. We got Super Mario World packed into it, and I also got Super Castlevania 4 was the other game I got that Christmas morning. So we played a lot of that. That is my favorite Castlevania game to this day.
Nice.
So that was a fun Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Christmas 1996. I got the N64 for Christmas that year with Mario 64, and I thought, man, I'm going to have a lot of fun playing this game, and I kind of plugged it up. By that time, I was working and had a semester and a half of college behind me or something, so I plugged it up in the TV in my room and didn't really play it a lot. And so I was at a church party for New Year's going from 96 to 97, and we were playing basketball, and I blew out my knee and had to have it in this brace and couldn't move for 6 weeks. And so I sat there and just destroyed Mario 64 in those 6 weeks. And even though my leg was hurting and I had to have it propped up and stuff, I just had a blast because I had no reason to do anything else. An excuse to get out of any kind of chore or work or anything. And
awesome.
I remember my sister brought home a magazine that showed where all like 120 stars were.
Oh, wow.
In that game.
Yep.
And within that 6 weeks, I had them all, had the game beat, just kind of knew my way around back and forth. And so Mario helped turn what could have been just a bummer of a situation into one that I look back on fondly.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. For me, it's also when my dad brought home the Nintendo for the first time. It was in the evening. It was around 6 o'clock because we had just eaten dinner. I'll never forget, we were playing it. And my happiest moment, as weird as it is the very first time I jumped and got the very top of the flag.
Yeah.
You know, like you run and you jump and you get the flag and it's just, however many points. But like the very first time I got that flag was just like, whoa, I made it to the very top. Look how many points I got. I mean, it was just blew my mind that you could do that. Because before then, it was like the first few times that we had tried it, we would just jump from the bottom and I was like, oh, I made it a little higher this time. But you don't really get that much. And I mean, it was cool. I was like so proud of myself, and everyone was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it had to be like 87 or maybe 88 when it happened. But it was just one of those memories that it's like I don't really remember what day it was. I don't really remember, what time of year it was. I just remember playing the game and getting that flag, and that was cool. So that was pretty exciting for me. But now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is a little bit I like to call Gag Me with the Spoon.
Here we go.
This is where we do our best impression of our least favorite part. And I almost picked everything that Ugdar says, but but in the end, I decided to go with something else. But as a guest, I'll let y'all go first. And it can be anything. So
after you.
All right. Well, there was a few parts I had, but when Mario had bent the bars to get in the castle to save Ugtar, he got stuck. And all I could say was push, Santa, push. And then Yoshi backs up and goes, where do you push Santa?
Good night, everybody.
That's
our show.
Welcome to Totally Rad After Dark. Oh man, that's not a great line there.
I went with a line from Koopa Klaus where they're trying to follow King Koopa and Santa into this dark cave, and Luigi says, it sure looks dark in there, and the princess says the whole world would look pretty dark without Christmas, and Toad responds, yeah, what's Christmas without presents? And Santa.
That was so good. That was like
ratty coming.
I didn't want to tear my voice. Yeah, I didn't want to tear my voice up trying to yell "Bah hum Coop." So I'll let you have that.
Yep, that's gonna be me right now. So this was it was one of those lines. It's like, really? I mean, it's like the most forced thing. It's Koopa, and he goes, excuse me here, I'm going to try. Christmas is a bah-hum coop. A bah-hum coop. Bah-hum coop. That was terrible. I'm sorry.
That was great.
Oh, man. There were quite a few lines that weren't great, but, it's written for kids, so it is what it is. But I do have to know, G.I. Joe taught us that knowing is half the battle. What do you guys think the other half is?
Realizing that trying to freeze the North Pole doesn't make any sense.
Definitely. What about you, Todd?
Keep your plumber's snake at a arm's length away.
Those are both better than mine. So knowing is half the battle. The other half is just getting better security at the North Pole.
There it is.
Because man, Koopa just froze that whole thing. Oh man, guys, this has been so much fun. Before you plug your shows, Favorite Mario character?
Oh, jeez.
Donkey Kong.
Nice.
Because I Mario Kart, I was always Donkey Kong, and I bonded with Donkey Kong for Mario Kart. So
I have a soft spot for Wario. I just like listening to him. He's just goofy sounding with that voice. He's just like, I'm a Wario. I'm gonna win.
I've always been like just straight up Mario, but lately I'm really digging Yoshi. Like Yoshi's my guy now. I kind of I like being Yoshi in anything. So and my 3-year-old's like the dinosaur. It's like, yes, he's a dinosaur. Nice. Yeah. So I kind of am have a soft spot now for Yoshi as well. But enough about me. Let's talk about your shows. What do you guys want to plug?
I have the podcast YouTube channel, Christmas Clatter, where we celebrate everything that makes Christmas special. And check us out. The easiest way to find us is just to go to christmasclatter.com, and that will take you wherever you want to go.
Right on.
Well, the Advent Calendar House is in the middle of a long winter's nap at the moment, but I dropped my 100th episode this past Christmas Eve. You can check out all of those at adventcalendar.house. If you want to say hi to me, I am on Twitter at FallWestMike.
Which, by the way, I still couldn't believe like 2 of your guests had never seen your 100th episode, the actual show. I was like, wait, what? This is something we watch like every Christmas.
Yeah, we did Santa Claus is Coming to Town for episode 100. I've been saving it for that.
Yeah.
And my friend Joey had never seen it, and I didn't realize it when I chose him. I was just like, well, you've been on the most of these. Come on. He tells me he'd never seen it before. So yeah, it blew me away too. But we had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it was a great episode. I loved it. It was just one of those like, wait, what? People didn't know that this was on every year? That just kind of blew my mind. But definitely go check out both those shows. They're my favorites. The guys are amazing. Todd and Mike.
Hey, thanks.
I know we've never met in person, but you guys are some of my best friends. So thank you for coming on and talking Mario with me.
It's an honor and a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
And on that note, I'm going to end it by saying, I didn't get to ruin Christmas. The Mario Brothers beat me again, and I'm floating away on an iceberg. What else can go wrong? Well, you can check us out on our social media pages, Facebook and Instagram at Totally Rad Christmas and Twitter at Rad Christmas. And if you're feeling like Toad warming Santa's heart, leave us a review on iTunes. Not only does it help us reach more people, but you also get a free sticker. Now, don't forget to check out our merch shop on tpublic.com and our brand new website, totallyradchristmas.com, courtesy of 'Tis the Podcast Elf, Tom Crow. Mario Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Later, dudes.
Are you tired of not being able to fit your 8-hour VHS tape full of holiday specials into your car stereo? So was I, till I discovered the Advent Calendar House. It's a podcast, on the internet. They talk about all your favorite holiday specials.
I'm the most important part because I'm the Christmas toy.
From the must-watch Christmas classics
humbug,
to the lost treasures at the bottom of the bargain bin.
I'm Olive. I'm the other reindeer.
Now I don't have to hook up a VCR to my car battery anymore. Thanks, Advent Calendar House. Visit adventcalendar.house now to download your first episode free. And all the other ones free. It's a free podcast. Just go listen.
Gadgets, toys, greed, avarice. I love it.
Hello, this is Todd Killian from the Christmas Clatter podcast. What makes Christmas special to you? Is it the movies or the music, the food or family, the gifts or decorations? Maybe those quiet moments of reflection. Whatever it is, join me for Christmas Clatter, a monthly podcast dedicated to everything that makes Christmas special. Visit christmasclatter.com for all social media links and find Christmas Clatter podcast on all podcast apps. Thank you, and remember, keep Christmas hope alive every day.